Hello learners, and welcome to today's lesson on products and squares of binomials. Let's start off our lesson with a did you know. So, did you know that algebra is used in cryptography? That is the study of secret communication. This means that you can use algebra to create a secret coded language. Yes, you can use algebra to create a secret language. Isn't that fascinating? Let's look at our lesson objectives for today. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to determine the product of binomials and determine the square of binomials. Our concept map for today's lesson is going to focus on these two areas. So firstly, the product of two binomials and the square of binomials. What you should know for this lesson. So you should be able to simplify expressions. You should be able to multiply polynomials by monomials, and you should be able to substitute given values to an expression. Let's do some pre-knowledge practice. We're going to start with multiplying monomials with monomials. So if you remember, when we multiply monomials with monomials, we firstly now multiply the integers together or the numbers together, and then the variables, we are going to multiply them, but we need to keep in mind our exponent laws. So remember, if we are multiplying the same base, then we need to go now and add those exponents. So let's look at the first one there. We have there 5x squared multiplied by 7x exponent 5. So, like I said, we are going to start by multiplying the integers. So that is going to be 5 multiplied by 7. And 5 multiplied by 7 is 35. Then we are going to look at the variables. If they have the same base and we are multiplying, we add the exponents. So now we have the x squared multiplied by x exponent 5. So the base is definitely the same. So this means that we are going to add those exponents. That is 2 plus 5, and that will give us a 7. So our final answer there is going to be 35x exponent 7. Let's look at the next one. So the next one there is a negative 6p cubed multiplied by p squared. So again, let us start by multiplying the integers. So we know that there, when there is a p squared only, there is only one p squared. So the integer there, or the coefficient for that p squared, is a 1. So we are going to multiply negative 6. We multiply it by 1. That is going to give us a negative 6. Now again, we have bases that are the same. So that means we are going to say p cubed multiplied by p squared. That is going to give us p exponent 5. And we got that 5 by adding those exponents. Since they have the same base, it means we can now go and add the exponents since we are multiplying. Then let's go on to the third one. Now the third one there has 7d cubed multiplied by 1/7. So we are going to start multiplying the 7 and the 1/7. So when we say 7 multiplied by 1/7, that gives us 7/7. And then because this one does not have any variables, it means that our variables there would remain as they are. But of course, we need to simplify that 7/7, and we know that 7/7 will be 1. Because it is 7 divided by 7, and if we divide a number by itself, then the answer there is 1. So our actual answer is going to be 1d cubed. Right, let's move on to more pre-knowledge practice. So what we are going to do next here is substituting given values into an expression. So we are given that if x is equals to 5 and y is equals to 2, then we need to calculate the following. Now firstly, what you need to remember when you are substituting is that you need to use your brackets. So remember, we use brackets so that they make the calculation firstly easier for us and to avoid those small mistakes. So now we have there as our expression negative 4x cubed plus y squared. So this is a negative 4 and I'm going to open my bracket. Why? Because I've been given the value for x. I've been told that x is equals to 5. So I am going to place a 5 in the place of x. I'm going to close that bracket, and if you look closely there, the x is cubed, which means my bracket must be cubed as well. We are adding this to a y squared. So I'm going to open my bracket, and what am I going to put there in the place of y? I'm going to place a 2. And I'm going to close that bracket, and if we look at the y there, the y has been squared. So we are also going to square that number. And if we look at that, that is going to be now negative 4 multiplied by 125, because that is 5 cubed. Remember, 5 cubed means 5 times 5 times 5. And then we are going to add this to 2 squared, and we know 2 squared is 4 because that is just a 2 multiplied by 2. And if we now look at that negative 4 multiplied by 125, remember, we are multiplying a negative number and a positive number, so our answer is going to be negative. And when we say negative 4 multiplied by 125, that gives us a negative 500. We are going to add the 4, and as our final answer, negative 500 plus 4. Remember, if we are adding a positive number and a negative number, our answer is going to take the sign of the one that is furthest away from 0, and we are just going to subtract those numbers, the natural numbers, which is going to give us an answer of negative 496 as my final answer. Let's look at the next one that we need to substitute into. So we have there 6x minus 9y cubed. So again, we are going to use our brackets to show substitution. So that is going to be 6, open bracket, and in the place of x, I am going to place the value that I was given for x, which is 5. And then we are going to minus 9, and again, in the place of y, I'm going to open a bracket. Do you remember what the value of y is? It is that 2 that is given to us there at the top, and that we are going to cube it. And then what is 6 multiplied by 5? That is 30. And then we are going to subtract the 9, but when we say 2 cubed, which is 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, that is 8. And then that will give us now an answer. We are still having the 30. What is 9 multiplied by 8? That is 72. And as a final answer, now remember, if we are subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number, my answer will be negative, and then 30 minus 72 is going to give us an answer of negative 42. Right? And that is our answer for that. Let's look at the keywords that we are going to be looking at during this lesson. So we are going to be looking at binomials, which is an expression with 2 terms and non-negative exponents of the variables. An example of this is 3x squared plus 4, right? And then we are also going to be talking about squaring. And remember, to square is to multiply a number or a polynomial by itself once. So for example there, 4x squared, which is 4x squared there in brackets, it means 4x multiplied by 4x. Let's quickly go to an ad break, and then we'll see you just now.